Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for joining in today's webinar for NAVBUILD for real estate and construction industry. We are doing this as a customer success story along with Zuari Infra World, who's our esteemed customer. Mr. Bipradas, the CIO of Zuari Infra World, will be joining us shortly. He has not yet logged in, but he will be doing so shortly. I have with me my colleagues Vidhyaram, who will be actually running through the product demo, and Prakash Kandaraj, who is the Sales and Marketing Director of Cetas. Okay, so let's look at the agenda. What do we have? So we will have an introduction presentation on NAVBUILD and why NAVBUILD can work for real estate and construction industry. And there will be a high-level demo done by Vidhyaram. And then we'll hand over the floor to Mr. Bipradas for describing the customer success story in terms of Zuari Infra World from their perspective. And then finally, we will take up some questions and we'll try and answer all of them as possible. So next. Right. So NAVBUILD as a solution is a vertical add-on solution built on top of Microsoft Dynamics NAV, as well as it is available for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Center. So it connects all stakeholders of your business. It helps you to make smarter decisions and helps you to start and grow in your journey. Next. So if you look at a project life cycle, so, typically we say initiation, planning, execution, control, and so on. So we are also looking at it from a similar perspective. We call it as the development phase, which is sort of the business development aspect of the project. The preparation, this is more of the initiation activities in terms of planning and all that. The execution, the actual construction and the billing and all that. The governance and performance measurement basically touches upon the control and monitoring and control and improvement aspect of the project management. So NAVBUILD has functionalities in all these life cycle phases of a project. Next. So as a construction solution, this is built on top of Dynamics NAV. So the blue-colored tiles represent basically the various functionalities available, and the green-colored ones or the features or the additional technical facilities which the solution comes up with, and the underlying the basic functionalities which are from the basic Microsoft Dynamics ERP solution, right? Yeah, next. Okay, so since we are talking about the real estate industry today, so we will talk about the promotion module, which is what we call as build to sell. Which is applicable for real estate developers and promoters. So here there is a facility to manage the land bank, what you might be holding and what you will be trying to acquire in various stages of your acquisition journey. And in terms of the SPANCO process, which is the suspect, prospect, analyze, negotiate, order kind of a thing. So here also we have mechanisms to manage your leads, opportunities, and manage the bookings, cancellations, any kind of charges you will have specific to the real estate properties, and being able to define the properties themselves and being able to price them, being able to define the amenities available, specifications, and so on. And we support milestone billing for the overall project as well as for individual properties also. You can tailor them. So, and it goes all the way up to the handover of the property to the consumer. Next. So the project management module, this is on the execution side. So basically the whole thing about the coming up with the bill of quantities and being able to manage your purchase orders in terms of key items like, probably steel, cement and all that. And then the managing the subcontract in terms of releasing the work orders and managing their running bill and all that. So all that is basically available under the project management module, and the WIP tracking, revenue recognition, all that is built into the ERP solution. Next. We do have a vendor portal for collaboration with vendors. So if you have a trade agreements with various vendors, or if you're in the model of floating requests for quotes and getting multiple quotes and comparing them before releasing purchase orders. You can do all that, as well as the portal even supports reverse auction mechanism. So which means each vendor can see what the other vendor is quoting, and then accordingly they can decide to lower their price or whatever. So all these kind of things are enabled as configurable options. If you want to have reverse auction, you can do so, or you can go with the normal closed bidding model. Both models are supported in this vendor portal. The portal is hosted on Azure, and you can just simply use it as a SaaS model. Right. Next. So the next one is the customer portal. So this is more for your consumers. So when they buy a property in your apartment complex or the villa project or whatever, so as a consumer, they will have a lot of interactions with you. You may share a lot of documents with them. There would be milestone billing, payment status, all that. So there is a portal available, again hosted on Azure and available to you on a simple SaaS per month fee. And so this is bundled with NAVBUILD as a add-on component. So if you want it, you can have it. Otherwise, you can just use only the core ERP system as well. Next. So in terms of the capabilities of the application, right from estimation, budgeting, scheduling, we support integration with Microsoft projects as well as Primavera. Procurement in line with the project budget. Subcontract management is a big piece of the project management for real estate players. Variation orders, so when there are variation orders from the consumers or variation orders brought in because of rework or anything, how do you manage that? And site activities, whether it be receiving of the material, initiation of requisitions, or capturing the measurements, and then certifying the running bills, all those sort of things. And finally, the industry-ready KPIs like earned value analysis, budget versus actual, cost to complete, all these metrics are available as widgets available within Dynamics ERP, as well as on Power BI, which is the cloud-based Microsoft analytics platform. Okay, so next. So we have several customers in various micro vertical of this AEC industry. We have customers in real estate and construction. We have interior fit out players. We have MEP contractors, HVAC contractors. We have EPC contractors, people who are in the pre-erect buildings, prefab kind of a thing, and the building material suppliers and so on. And some of the customers are listed on the right-hand side. Yeah, next. Okay, now we move on to the demo stage of our webinar. I will hand over the floor now to Vidhyaram Ganesan to run through the demo. Ram, please take over.
Thank you, Murali. Good afternoon, everyone. And for today's product demo, I will be giving the walkthrough on the Business Central, which is part of the Dynamics 365 offering from Microsoft. So the application that you're looking at is available over web. So as long as you have internet connection, you will be able to access the application anywhere you are, whether it could be from site, or it could be from your home, or it could be from office. And the same application is also available through mobile app. So site activities like, let's say, for example, GRN, or even updating the measurement books of the subcontractor if you want to. Those very specific activities can be very well managed through a mobile application as well. All right, so this is regarding the accessibility to the application. And talking more about this product, it's basically an ERP from Microsoft. So the accounts and finance is the core part of this application, around which you have various segments or pieces like what Murali was referring to, very specific to a real estate construction companies, like initial the CRM touch point of managing the inquiries and opportunities, and how do we manage the customer interaction. And at the same time, it also has got a master definition of defining the properties, managing various milestones and documents which we are supposed to issue it to the customer, or vice versa, we have to collect from the customer. So all those things are being taken care. And the second, you also have the execution part of the project, which is also being taken care in the application itself. And moving further about this particular product, let me start off with the initial sales and inquiry management. So wherein we have classified them, the CRM activities, under promotions management section. So here we will be able to define the list of projects, whatever that we are executing. So you will be able to define a number of projects. There is no restriction with number of projects. So you can create a number of projects that you want. You can define the project address. And this becomes your overall project milestone definition for a given project definition for a given project. So this is something we can do at a project master. Similar way, for a given project, it is also possible for you to define the list of properties. When I say list of properties, based on the size of the project, based on the number of dwelling units, or even number of blocks that we have, so you will be able to create this as a property master, which is tagged to a given project. So here you will be able to see the different types of project, different types of properties that we have. So you could define this as an apartment or a villa. So we show complete flexibility there. And we also have this provision for uploading all these data through an Excel, which becomes a freebie from a Microsoft product. So the integration between Excel and this particular application that we are looking at is completely seamless. So the definition of property can be managed this way. And you can also define various deliverables which are part of this particular project. All right, so initially I have defined certain project definition. Then for this project, I've also defined the list of properties. And here, this is where I was referring about the documents which we have to, or the deliverables which we have to take care. So here you could see list of documents like sales deed document, copy of a building plan, sale agreement. So these are the documents which we exchange with the customer. Similar way, if I select certificates, so this is very specific to a project wherein I'm supposed to, obtain various, clearance certificates from different authorities based on the type of projects. It could be, encumbrance certificate, or airport clearance authority, or sewage authorities, or even pollution control board. You can very well add a number of definition as per your needs. So we can also define the list of deliverables for a given project. And very specifically, when we do or when we execute projects, as a part of a CRM activity, it is mandatory to include the amenities of this particular project, because these amenities, we add them to the selling prices, so that it becomes easy for us to make the sale actually happen. So you can add a number of amenities as well. That provision is also available. And very specifically, on defining the specification of a property, defining the specification of a given living room. So this becomes a master. So what happens is, for us, every project becomes unique, and every design becomes a landmark in all the projects that we execute. So you will be able to define as many specification as you want, as per the drawing, or as per the consultant's idea, or even based on the customer need. You can very well define all the permutation combination when it comes to specification across all our offerings. So this, it can also be defined. And the provisions is also available for managing the customer properties. Let's say, for example, the moment the customer puts in an inquiry. Let's say I have purchased a property, but later I wanted to swap it with somebody else. So those provisions are definitely available in the system. And talking more about the CRM engagement, so it all starts from initial inquiry. So those things are categorized under the opportunity funnel, and a funnel management can also be managed within the system. And once the opportunities are being defined, then we can go into the next stage, which is the booking phase, wherein we'll be able to define various customers who has selected properties in a project as per their requirement. So we will be able to know under which project that they have taken, and what is a unit number, and what is the type of property. So those definitions can be taken from the system. And you also have the list of registrations that we have taken care based on the bookings that the customer has made. So this can also be tracked in the system. So this is on to managing the customers from a core the ERP application. And at the same time, let's say, for example, as a customer, you would like to give those as a preference to your customers, so that they can log in as a self-service portal and to see, what is the stages and what is the progress that the project has been made. Now, if you want to show such details, yes, it is definitely possible by giving them an extension through customer portal. Similar to this, all customers will be given a unique username and password, like how we carry forward for banking and other e-commerce applications that we come across in our day-to-day life. So once a property is booked or booked under a customer, he will be able to see the list of properties that they have booked with us, and the definition of property or the documents which has to be shared. So those things can also be defined. So here you can actually see a basic example of what is a type of property that I have booked, and what is the door number, floor number, what are the amenities which are available as part of this particular project, and what are the various milestones which has been agreed or defined as per this particular project. And even in case, let's say, for example, a customer changes the specification by saying that, can you also do the grill work for me for both the balconies and the front main door. If this is the requirement from the customer, we take it as a chargeable item, and we will be able to add it to the customer billing as well. So these provisions are available in the system itself, and customer, they themselves can know how the whatever commitments that we have given to them. And you can also see the details of, as a customer, they can see the invoice details, whatever, against the payments that, we have collected. They will be able to see the customer name with that invoice details as well. And these invoices can very well be downloaded from this particular application itself. So definitely the format of the invoices, yes, we can change it as per your company logo, so on and so forth. So this provision is also available, and the list of payments and the payment acknowledgements that the accounts and finance department, which when they book those entries in the core accounting module, this will get reflected here in the customer portal as well. And moving further on, defining the statements for a given project. So the complete history of all the statements can be generated by the customer itself. They may not have to come back to our office to understand, I'm not able to understand this particular bill that you have given. I have given you a check of, let's say, X value, and that is not getting reconciled. So all those things could be completely managed in the self-service portal itself. So this, again, it's an extension to the core ERP application. So whether to make you, give this feature functionality to the customer or not is a choice that you can definitely make. All right. So now that we have covered the sales and CRM part, so let me get into the core execution part of it. So let's see on how we are going to execute this particular project. So let me take a sample project here on how the bill of quantity is being defined. So here it will have the project details, and it will also have the project BOQ as per the drawing which we have agreed from the consultant and from our internal management. So here you can define the BOQ either based on blocks or based on floor, or even if you want to classify based on the type of work. That is how we have defined here. So column concrete, first floor, second floor, third floor. This can be defined. Or brickwork, first floor, second floor, third floor. Or sometimes what happens is one of our customer, wherein they always see the project from a tower wise. So they will have tower A as the initial beginning. So under tower A, what are the list of activities? We will have column concrete, first floor, second floor. So the groupings are completely flexible, and for project to project, you can vary this particular BOQ definition. So system shows complete flexibility when it comes to such a definition of BOQ. And moving further on, how do we define the then comes the budgeting of the project. So let's say I would like to show you the budgets of the given project. So how did we arrive at the budget is a bottom-up estimation. So here you will be able to see what is my BOQ quantity, and how much unit cost or the cost that I need in order to execute this particular BOQ activity here. So here I could see the column concrete up to first floor or a ground floor. It says as per my BOQ, it says 1082 cubic feet. My cost of execution per cubic feet is 388, and then the total estimated cost. So which means the system multiplies these two values, and then it tells you, okay, this is where this is the overall costing for a given a BOQ line. Similar way, you can compute the costing for every line in the BOQ. So this provision is made available through a feature functionality called as a rate card. So a rate card is nothing but wherein we will be able to define the composition of material and manpower that that is needed for a given BOQ line activity. So here what a system we can see is for column concrete activities till the ground floor, these are my combination of material and manpower required. So items are nothing but my materials, whereas resources are nothing but my subcontractor or a labor activity. So with this definition, we will be able to see, all right, for executing 1 cubic feet of column concrete activity, my cost is X value. Okay, but my BOQ demands something more than that. So the BOQ will be varying from project to project, right? So in such cases, the BOQ system does the multiplication with the BOQ quantity, and hence the overall project costing is arrived. And here, what Murali was referring to in his presentation, there are provisions for managing multiple versions. So the version control is enabled for the BOQ. Let's say whenever there is a budget revision, or whenever there is an non-tendered or an NT comes in a project, or variation comes in a project. So for managing any such variations, we have this provision called as an archival mechanism, and you can do n number of archivals. And talking more about the project control here, whenever somebody is changing the budget, we will be able to enable approval mechanism for it. So this is where one of the key project management activity comes in picture of controlling the project. So what happens is any changes that happens to the BOQ, it could be a design change, or it could be a composition change, or even it could be change in budgeted value, for example. All such permutation combination of changes can be controlled through approval. And this being a comprehensive enterprise application, you will also have an audit log of who has approved which project on or which document, so on and so forth. So this is on defining the project budget and how can we get the control over the projects when the project is being actually executed. And you could also see provisions for defining the schedule of the projects as planned start date and planned end date. And you will also be able to update the actual start date and the actual end date through Microsoft Project and Primavera. These are the two scheduling softwares wherein we have done a two-way integration, which means the BOQ, what you see in the core ERP application, will get pushed back to Microsoft Project or Primavera. And in the Primavera, we will be able to update the completion percentage and the actual start date and end date with the predecessors if it has been defined. Based on that, the project scheduling is being handled. So these are the various functionalities that we have for the projects per se. And let me go further into the materials part, wherein we will define. We will start from the purchase requisition. So before we get into the requisition, I just wanted to make one statement that the master details like an item or material or the vendor master, assume that all those masters are completely available or ready-madely available in the system. I may not traverse through the master definition. Rather, I can straight away jump into the actual transaction itself. All right. So here what happens is the indentation, or whenever we say we will be creating the project material requisition, this will be performed by the site team. And whenever they perform the material requisition, it should be always against the BOQ of the project. So the BOQ definition is what you're seeing in the system right now. So this BOQ definition is where the project budgeting happens. So here you could see the same set of details what we saw in the previous screen. So once you say, or once the user defines, okay, for this particular BOQ, what are the list of activities that we will be performing, system will auto-populate the list of items. And to the right-hand side, we can also see the budget details. So what a system gives us an information is, before making or completing a purchase request, the current stock in hand, what is a budgeted quantity, and what are the list of orders which has been placed or on order quantity. So all such information are made available to the site person before he takes any decision further. And you also have provisions like approval mechanisms similar to project budgeting approval. So if you would like to enable certain approval mechanism, yes, pretty much we can take it forward there. And once the purchase request is being completed, then it is possible to manage your list of all the requests. So here what happens, the team in procurement team comes in picture, wherein they will be able to say, against across all my purchase orders, I would like to say, I would like to consolidate the list of all my requisition. So this would allow the purchase team to procure the raw material in a bulk quantity. So when they do the procurement, they will be able to consolidate, or they will be able to merge multiple requisitions into a single purchase order, so that we get the better pricing. So as an option for the procurement team, you could see the various processes like purchase order, which means, let's say, for example, there could be rate contracts which we have agreed with the few suppliers. Let's say for an instance, vendors onto managing the steel and sand and cements. If you have rate contracts agreed, you can directly release a purchase order. And or let's say there is also a process in the company where, as per our company policy, it is mandatory to prepare or receive 3 quotations, do the quotation comparison, and then only I can release a purchase order. Yes, assume that is also available in the system. And so these are the flexibilities or options which are available for the procurement team. Even a scenario of partial quantity can also be made available in the system itself. And moving further, based on the planning against all my requisitions across all my projects, we will be able to release the purchase order. So I'm just showing you a sample purchase order of how it looks like. So in this purchase order, we will be able to define the payment terms, delivery terms, expected delivery dates, or in case if there are any indirect costs like freight or handling or loading or unloading. So all these provisions could be defined, or even if you would like to have a delivery schedule for a given purchase order, yes, that can also be taken care. And yeah, as usual, the approval mechanism for purchase order is also very much available. But one interesting thing against the purchase order is to your right side, you could able to see the vendor statistics. So typically what happens is the communication between accounts and finance and the procurement is, see, can you make a payment for this particular vendor? I have to release one more PO. So can you tell me what is outstanding for this particular vendor? So all such informations are made available to my purchase team as well. So this is how the connected, or we are able to bring the various stakeholders for making an informed decision. So these are the things which we provide. And this being an core ERP, which has got complete visibility of inventory management, and the purchase history can also be traced out here. So the number of quotations that we have received, the number of orders that we have released for this particular vendor. So all these things can also be made available in the system itself. All right. So now before we get into the next process, I also wanted to quickly touch upon the other aspect of it, which is the work order concept. So the process of work order is pretty much the same. We will have to raise a work order requisition similar to material request. So like how we raised a purchase request for materials, similar way for work orders, site person is supposed to raise the work order requisition as well. And a similar process of RFQ, code comparison, yes, very well. Yeah, it follows the same process on managing the work orders. And eventually, you will be able to release the work order that we are talking about. So once the work order is being issued, it is also possible for you to update the measurement book. Let's say typically what happens in the work order process is, assume that the subcontractor would claim the work order is released for 100 square feet. As a subcontractor, in the first running bill, he will come to us and say, I have completed 70% of the work. Then somebody from our side will go to the site, they'll take the measurement, and eventually they say it is not 70%, it is 60%. So the point that we are trying to make here is there happens a multiple iterations between the subcontractor and the real estate firm that we are talking about. So all these iterations, once both the parties mutually agree that yes, this is the final measurement, then we have this provision to enter this measurement book. So here we will be able to define various measurement book activities here. Yeah. So based on the measurements that we have defined, it is possible for us to certify the details here. Let's say after entering the measurement book details, the various additions or various deductions, if you would like to include, yes, you can very well do so. You have provisions to add here, and you also have provision for managing your subcontractor running bills, and you can also generate the measurement book details as well. So this is a sample subcontractor running bill. Up to last bill, what was the value? Up to current bill, what is the value? And what is the total up to total outstanding for this particular supplier? And you will also get to see the details of project, vendor details for which project and what is the work order number, so on and so forth. So based on this certified value, if my accounts and finance receives a subcontractor bill, they can very well process the bill as per the payment terms agreed in the work order. Whereas for the material process, the process remains the same. We have to make a GRN process. So when we say GRN, the various scenarios of partial receipt of material, even sometimes certain materials like tiles, when they do the actual GRN, it will get returned as well. So those things can be handled in the system itself. So yeah, this is on to managing the purchase part. And last but not least, we also have this provision for purchase invoice, which is nothing but bill bookings. So the bill booking can be made from either the materials received, or it can be from the subcontractor. So this is what we have on the execution of the project. And as Mr. Murali was talking about, we also have this provision for giving access to the subcontractor or even the vendors, vendor self-service portal, starting from initial vendor registration to the next process of the portal itself, wherein I'll be able to define we can give access to the vendor, and he will be able to see the purchase order by himself, or if he would like to do the quotation, provide a purchase quotation, yes, he can very well do so. And scenarios of statements of accounts can also be seen in the system itself. So a quick example of purchase order. So the moment we place an order in the ERP application, the vendor will be able to see the purchase order in this self-service portal. So this is an extension similar to the customer portal, what we showcased before. Okay. Overall, as a solution per se, I think I have covered up all the touch points or all the modules that I wanted to demonstrate today. Over to you, Mr. Murali.
Thanks, Vidhyaram. I hope all of you find the demo to be comprehensive and covered all functionalities required for a real estate company. I now welcome Mr. Bipradas, Chief Information Officer of Zuari Infra World. So he has been part and parcel of the NAVBUILD implementation within Zuari Infra World. Mr. Bipradas, can you please share some of your thoughts and some of your experiences?
I'll just give a brief of what we are doing, what we do actually as a business, and then I'll go into the details of how we have selected Cetas as a partner and how we have implemented NAVBUILD for our processes. Start with, for the Zuari Infra World, we are an ISO certified, ISO and OSHA certified company, and we are the real estate arm of the Advanced Group, which was earlier known as Zuari Industries. So it has been set up by top industrialist Mr. Saroj Kumar Poddar. So he earlier it was Zuari Industries, now it has become Advanced Group. So we are a part of the group and we are into the real estate division. So we are actually having many different parts of India as well as in Dubai, starting from high-end luxury villas, high-rise apartment buildings, and luxury villaments, etc., to cater to different needs of the market. So just give how we came to know in the picture is that we are our first project is a Zuari Garden City project, which is a 73-acre integrated township in the city of Mysore. So here we have delivered around 217 villas, which are having top of the quality as well as amenities, along with lot of large gardens. So we are specialized on creating a lot of gardens, and we are getting awards for that. As you can see in our website and other also, that we have got around 5 consecutive awards from the government of Karnataka. And we are also having a plan to launch large-scale projects in Delhi, Kolkata, and Bangalore, etc. Considering this in mind that we have a scope of increasing or expanding our business, we were having the requirement of implementing an ERP. We earlier were using some ERP, which is a local developer, local grown ERP, but that was not giving us a good result as far as the MIS, as far as the process management, efficiency of the processes are concerned. So keeping in mind that we are going to expand and we have a lot of projects on hand, we were searching for an ERP which will suit our need as well as it becomes a cost effective. So we had a requirement which has been very clearly mentioned is that to have a user-friendly integrated ERP to monitor and record projects, because any real estate company, as you all are aware of, are run on projects. So every company, real estate company, will have one or many projects to run. So as far as the ERP is concerned, our requirement was to have a user-friendly, because our users are located in different parts of the country, in different sites. So they need to have a user-friendly system where they can log in and enter the data and get reports, etc. As well as an integrated ERP, meaning end-to-end processes. As Mr. Murali and his team has already demonstrated you the modules, various modules that Cetas have as part of the NAVBUILD. So we wanted to have the similar sort of modules in our system also, because we also do an end-to-end processes. We have end-to-end processes starting from sales. We only do our sales, marketing, until handover, including execution of the projects. So we required an integrated ERP to manage that. So our business objectives were, as set up during the initial phase of the implementation, was to ability to monitor projects and sub-projects across location. So there will be project, under one project we have multiple small projects, you can say phases rather. So we should have an ability to monitor through ERP all those projects and sub-projects. Plus, it is a very important part as far as the accounting part is concerned that we need to generate cost center level details, which is nothing but a project level detail. Because in real estate company, generally, cost center is nothing but your project, where you book your expenses and from where you generate the reports. Whereas your revenue centers and the revenue also will be allocated to projects primarily. In some cases, we will allocate to head office. So this was one of the basic requirements or the objectives. Next was that ability to set up multiple companies and projects in a single ERP instance, because we have companies created in Dubai who are part of us only, but because in different countries. So we need to see there is ERP which can allow us to create multiple companies across the world and also multiple projects inside an industry, inside a country or outside. Similarly, the most important part, which was part of the objective, is to have a user-friendly screens, reports and Excel imports, because you must be aware that many of the operations that we do in our daily activities are based on Excel, primarily an Excel-driven activities. So those activities should be easily replicatable in ERP through that Excel import and export process. So people get more confidence to use the system because they are already accustomed to use Excel. Third, and the last objective which was there, is to have access of the ERP over web, which is currently the practice, as right now people are working from their homes, from different places. So they should have access to the ERP from anywhere they're using, through any device, whether it is a laptop or a tablet or a desktop or mobile. So that ability should have been there with the ERP so that people can access. And it has to be implemented in a short period of time with less cost, because after all, cost effectiveness has to be seen in an industry such as in real estate, as well as period of time. We cannot engage people over a long period of time because they have a lot of other activities to do and also to monitor project and complete the project as such. So we should implement such a ERP which will have a short period of time to implement the full system as well as cost effective. So now if you go, so there are different criteria basis on which this ERP, MS NAVBUILD 2016 we have selected, because we have gone to the market and we tried to understand what all ERPs are available for real estate specifically. As you are all aware that in real estate industry, there are some particular custom processes or custom processes which needs to be implemented in any ERP which we wanted to utilize. So out in the market, and we have tried to identify which are ERPs which are available. So we found that SAP is there, Oracle is there. These are very big companies and they have a lot of systems and features and modules, as long with MS NAVBUILD. So now, why we have chosen MS NAVBuild over SAP and Oracle? So there are many reasons. The highlighting reasons which is listed here are, one of them is that better customized for construction industry, such as indenting MBOOK. So we are very particular about MBOOK management. All our projects are running on measurement books. So if measurement books are there in the ERP already built in, we are certainly going to use that ERP. That was one of our basic criteria. In SAP and Oracle, what we have found is that they have sort of a system which caters to this MBOOK or measurement book management. They were not as what we are looking for, because we had certain requirements specifically. For example, length, breadth, height of the particular activity needs to be captured along with capture quantity and percentage complete. But that was not there in those ERPs. While in MS NAVBuild, we have found that it is already there through Cetas solution, the NAVBuild solution which they have delivered, which they have built already. So there I have found that it is already there. That way it was better customized. One, easier. As if you remember, our business objective was to have a tight integration with it, because that's where it is more comfortable to use. And thirdly, cost effective. We have found in a total cost of ownership basis, if you consider our user base and the requirements of the modules which we want to utilize, we found that build is around 75% cheaper. So it actually came at 1/4 of the cost of Oracle and the SAP products. So these are the main reasons actually why we have gone for MS Build. Now, as far as the implementation is concerned, we utilize these modules projects, including MBOOK management, material management, and all those things. So actually, it is an end-to-end project management modules which we are using. Apart from that, CRM we are using, where we are managing the collection of customer payments. Then we are using finance module, of course, because finance is the ultimate source where all the information will go, and from there we'll take out the reports. So these are the major modules what we are using currently. Of course, there are two things which is not mentioned here. One is customer portal, one is vendor portal. We are also using that. Some of our vendors have now been intimated to start using their vendor portal. So they are slowly going into the process. They're understanding how to enter the vendor portal. Considering this COVID-19 scenario and the post-COVID-19, we are sure that more people will join us and use the vendor portal as far as the vendor side is concerned, because now majorly the face-to-face meetings are getting restricted and people have to go through that portal and share their documents and everything so that we can work together. That is on the vendor side. As far as the customer side is concerned, we have already shared customer portal details to our customers, so they don't call us for any receipt inquiry or any payment receipt inquiry, invoice inquiry. They themselves go into the portals. They identify what all documents are uploaded, what all invoices are there. They generate their statements and they work with that. If there are any specific questions, they come. So actually, we have a reduced number of calls as far as managing this customer and some documentation. So we are utilizing those two modules as such. And most importantly, you can see the project timeline. We have only taken 4 months for go live. So it was very short, but very effective period where we all concentrated to get our processes up and running and map it into the ERP system, along with some few customizations, what we have requested Cetas to do. They had delivered those customizations, and based on that, we have gone live. So it was a very short period. That was one of the requirements of our objective was there to ensure that we go live in a short period of time. Now, the key for this successful go live, as you can understand, so what was the key? Generally, there are many ERP projects where you will find a lot of issues after go live, before go live, extension of timelines, extension of deadlines, etc. In our case, what happened, we were focused from the day one that we need department HOD's involvement, because otherwise users' involvement will get reduced and then the total timeline gets messed up as far as the ERP implementation is concerned. So we were very keen to have department HOD's to get the requirements sorted out in the first place. Then Cetas implementation team has also ably supported with their person at on-site, means at our premises. He was present, then along with his team who are working on the remote offices, and then making sure that all our requirements are matched and delivered. And finally, direct monitoring by top management. Of course, our CEO was very keen to know that this project should go on successfully, complete successfully. So basis on these things, we are able to manage the timelines and we are able to ensure that the project goes live as per the schedule. Then now we have just gone through the go live around 6 months time or 7 months time we have passed. So we are having some initial returns. So that will be very interesting to know as far as the people or the company who are thinking of going for an ERP implementation. So primarily the initial returns are you should have, for our case, for example, we have a closure period timeline reduced by 30%. So instead of 7 days earlier, now it is 4 days or 5 days they are doing it. So that is one of the benefits. Then MBOOK entry time. Earlier people were taking 3 to 4 days to enter MBOOK because there are a lot of lines and that were managed in Excel. Now what is happening, because the data is available in ERP, the master data, everything, they are just entering the Excel and uploading. It's just as a plug and play system. So they have reduced the time. Instead of 2 or 3 days, now they are doing in same day only, they are able to enter the MBOOK. And the third and the important part is the proper MIS. All our MISs are coming properly in system, which was not there in our earlier ERP. Because this ERP has a lot of controls and the standards are set so that your MIS is correct. MIS in terms of customer outstanding or vendor outstanding, for example. Then you have profit and loss MIS coming out every week or every month. Then project profit and loss, company level, admin expenses. So all these different type of MISs we have developed, designed, which we are taking out now so that we can have a better grip of the processes. Along with that, I'll quickly mention that we are also using Power BI, which is also part of this tool, but it is a separate solution, but then it has also been utilized by our team here. We have just started with the Power BI. We are trying to derive maximum out of it as far as the reporting is concerned. So these are the basic things that we are actually doing and ensuring that our implementation is utilized to the fullest. I think there is one more slide which talks about different visibility or whatever we have got as far as utilizing MS ERP. So we have been put up in various places when I attend various webinars, and some places I have been asked this question also regarding that MS ERP, whether utilization, how you have selected, what is the best part of this MS ERP, what is the good part of it. So I have shared with them my understanding, my thought process, how it has helped us. So I hope whatever I have told now, which will give you a good understanding of how MS ERP can be utilized in a real estate company, and we can have an end-to-end solution, starting from your lead management, then your customer management, then your project management, tracking, then finally handover, and then of course, portals are there where vendors can be managed separately, customers can be managed separately. So things can be utilized in this particular solution, which is a very cost-effective solution and can be utilized for all type of industries, particularly for real estate industries. All sizes of companies can utilize this. So this is what I wanted to tell, so that everyone can get an understanding of how, as a customer, we are using this particular product.
Okay, thanks very much, Mr. Bipradas, for that clear explanation of how NAVBUILD is being utilized in Zuari Infra world and how it is helping your company. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much. We will now move over to the question and answer. So if any of you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the Q&A window.